The Acer Predator 15-inch laptop is made for those who want desktop-like performance but still the portability to play wherever they want. The Predator 15 laptop checks all the boxes of a great gaming notebook, but how does it truly stack up in a crowded market full of gaming laptops? I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja, and let's find out. The Acer Predator is a 15.6 1080p gaming laptop. It's equipped with the 6th gen Skylake i7 6700HQ, which runs 2.6 GHz stock, but when using the included turbo mode, it can safely hit speeds of 3.5 GHz. The GPU is the Nvidia 90M 4GB. It also has 32 GB of DDR4 dual channel RAM. The model that we have has two 16 GB slots with two more open that's actually right under the back plate, and that supports up to 64 GB of RAM in total. The system does have a 1TB 7200 SATA hard drive and also a 512 PCI SSD. It has 4 USB 3.0, 1 USB 3.1/Thunderbolt 3, HDMI, DisplayPort, and RJ-45. The battery is an 8-cell 6000 mAh, and the wireless is AC dual band, and it also has Bluetooth 4.1. The laptop weighs 7.5 pounds, which is pretty hefty. The Acer Predator line is not meant to be hidden. When laying your eyes on this laptop or anything from the Predator line, you instantly know that this is a gaming product. It's a bit gaudy, but this is what Acer is aiming for. The laptop is mostly black with a ton of red accent colors, like the WASD, arrow keys, vents, and also some illumination is sprinkled throughout. There are tons of lights and other nifty accents, and it can be a bit much for some. It's also interesting that the number pad shines a bit of blue, and that blue sticks out when you're next to a sea of red. Shout out to Moses. The laptop is pretty thick. The lid by itself is 1.5 inches. And overall, it just feels solid and stiff. When typing on it or just casually tapping the touchpad, everything feels great. The screen also opens up to 140 degrees, which is really nice. It's just a solid laptop and it feels like an unmovable force at times, which is really nice when sedative. The 1080p display is pretty heavy on the bezels. This display also has a matte finish, but the finish is a personal preference. I do like glossy, but it is nice to have a matte display knowing you can play with it outside. This is also an IPS panel, so viewing angles are solid. The brightness on this display maxes out at 287 CDM square, which is plenty for most situations, but in direct sunlight, you'll find yourself squinting a ton. The black levels are also solid, but not perfect at 0.36 CDM square. It also does lead to a slight grayish tint in dark gaming and video scenes. I did not notice much backlight bleeding, which is usually the calling card for IPS displays, so that's pretty cool that Acer figured that part out. The keys feel pretty good on the Predator. There is a lot of room to rest your palms on while typing or playing a game, and you can also find the usual hotkeys like volume, brightness, and Wi-Fi toggles. I still wish I was able to adjust the colors on the backlit keyboard a bit more, or at least get rid of that blue number pad. It just bothers me. Everything with the Wi-Fi chip checks out pretty well in all of my tests. The wireless AC 1535 is pretty common and it works as expected. The touchpad is multi-touch and it feels really nice. It has plenty of room and the surface is not super slick. It has like a little bit of grit on the surface that lets your fingers sort of stick to it. It's hard to explain, but it feels great. You can easily disable this touchpad too, and that's pretty nice if you're looking to type something and you don't want to touch the touchpad. The storage in the system is pretty amazing. The 512 PCIe is super fast. They also give us that traditional 7200 RPM hard drive, and here is a quick look at some of the benchmarks. As you can see from the results, this thing smokes. The Predator can stay pretty cool with up to 3 fans, 2 in the back, and the laptop also has a 3rd fan called the Predator Frost Core. You can swap your Blu-ray disc out for this. While using the laptop, it never peaked past 80 Celsius, even when gaming for hours and doing these benchmarks. Some review mentions that the fans get pretty loud when it kicks on, however, I'm not noticing the difference. It's possible that the BIOS update that I just applied when I got the laptop fixed this. The laptop will get you around 6 hours of battery life on 50% brightness. When gaming, expect around 3.5 hours, and when brightness is to 100, you can eke around 3 hours. As mentioned, this is not made for long-term portable gaming. Acer comes with a few utility programs like Predator Sense, which lets you overclock the CPU, and this also adjusts the fan speed. This is how you can tap into the 3.5 turbo boost. There's also things like key assignments, macros, and also Dust Defender application. And what the Dust Defender does, it kicks on the fans and it spins counterclockwise and clockwise, allowing air to flow in 2 different directions, and that can kick out the dust on the laptop. And this you can set to do it automatically if the system is not being intensely used. In my test, I was not able to fully utilize it as the laptop I got was actually clean already. Now onto some gaming benchmarks. This is a gaming laptop after all. Star Wars Battlefront Ultra settings, we're seeing the average of 65 frames per second on AC power. When you pull the plug, you're getting around 30 frames per second as an average. Overwatch on Epic settings, we were actually maxed out at 60 frames per second, but sometimes it did eke over to 70 just depending on the action going on. Mirror's Edge, with the settings maxed out, we averaged 67 on AC and 30 on battery. On 3D Mark Advanced Edition, we ran Firestrike. The Predator landed an overall score of 8,092, but only managed to get 17 frames per second in the more challenging combined test. I know this is a ton of information, but when it comes to laptops, there are so many things to cover. Regardless, for around $2,500, this is the middle of the road for gaming laptops. There are tons of options out there in the market, but none are much better than this. I suggest to take a look around and figure out what really works best for you and your applications. I mean, this thing runs just as good as a desktop, so if you're going to be sedative or portability is not a big deal, then look no further than this laptop. I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja. Make sure you like the video, hit my links down below, and I'll holler at you guys later. Take care.